Welcome, everybody, to Intelligent Training, Holistic Health. We are your hosts, James and Francesca Eagle. This podcast is going to cover everything health and fitness related. Full disclosure, we have been here for now 35 minutes trying to do an intro. So we've actually given up on that, and we're going to dive straight into the podcast. If you can hear rattling in the background, that's Forrest, our dog walking around, and he might come across the screen. Yep, there he is. So this is Raw, ladies and gentlemen. We're going straight in. So we thought we would just give a little intro about our backgrounds, what we've done, and why we love health and fitness.
I was trying to think back when we were thinking about this if you can hear our dog, sorry, he is just roaming around. I was trying to think back to where we both first got into health and fitness. For those of you who don't know us, we've been together a long time. We are husband and wife. Yeah. And we have been together probably over 15 years. I always say the same number. I say it used to be 10 years, and I would just keep saying 10 years. And obviously years and years would go on, and I'd still say, well, it's 10 years. So it's probably been longer than that now. I actually don't know.
It's been a while.
It has, hasn't it?
It has.
More than a life sentence.
It has indeed.
But here we are.
But.
And I was trying to think back. So for you, James, because we were so young when we got together, yep. I remember you working in a gym. I remember you working in the first gym that we had in our local town.
Yeah.
It was a swimming pool, so you were a lifeguard there.
Oh yeah.
And then you worked in the gym there, and I remember being a member of that gym, and that was probably my first point. My mum would used to go and use the gym, and I would go in with her sometimes. And I remember asking some fitness instructor there to give me details of the courses that they did in order to become a fitness instructor. It was like YMCA and Future Fit, all these courses.
Yeah.
And that was when I took an interest straight away, because I was using the weights, didn't really know what I was doing to some degree. And just like everybody, you pop into the gym, you do like almost like a circuit of the weights machines, don't you?
Yeah.
And that was probably my first time for me that I really got into weight training.
Yeah. Well, I got into weight training because I was fairly chubby at school, and no one used to like me. Ladies never used to like me. So that was probably the same as most people got into the training because they wanted to buff up a little bit to get a little bit of recognition. It didn't happen. So that was probably one of the reasons I got into the gym. I do remember my brother coming home, and he used to be going to the gym quite a bit. And if he's listening, he's going like this. And so he came home one time, and I remember he flexed his bicep at me, and it looked like it was going to burst out of the skin. It probably wasn't back then, but at that time it was super impressive to me. And then from then I was like, oh man, I need to start hitting the weights. So I remember, just getting into the gym. I used to go to the gym at the school, and then I became, like you said, a lifeguard.
Yeah.
And they had a gym there. I remember one of my best friend, he became a gym instructor, and I thought that was cool. So from there, I ended up looking into the gym instructor world and becoming a personal trainer. So jumped on a course. I think I did Future Fit course. And that was...
We both did it, right? Remember we did it. You did it just before me.
Oh, yeah.
We almost got it at the same time. And then you did it just before me. And I was probably a month or so behind you.
Oh, yeah, you were.
The same course. Because...
Were we together then?
Yeah. I know. This is how long we've been together.
Jeez,
we've been together a long time. So I remember it was Future Fit. And you started the gym instructing course first. And I think I had just done my level 2 exercise to music.
Oh, yeah.
And because my background was in dance, I first of all went into the exercise to music round, didn't I? And I did that, and you were doing the gym instructor.
Yeah.
And then you started your personal training, and I was like, oh yeah, personal training, that would be a great career. I'm going to go for that at the same time, because it worked, didn't it, well with all the classes. And so I was a month behind you. So we didn't actually do our PT course together, but all the add-on courses like the nutrition and the circuit training and all those little ones.
Kettlebells.
So we went off and did those.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So that, and I can't remember how long that took for us to complete. But we both we have literally followed each other around in jobs.
Yeah.
We were both working in the same local sports centre.
Yeah. Because where I used to work, I was a lifeguard and I ended up getting a full-time job. So my first day at a full-time job, I turned up to work, was absolutely loving it. For this is my first full-time job. This is brilliant. And they told me to turn around, go home because the pool has a huge leak and the whole place is closing down. So I was like, oh, brilliant. So then I had to find a new job, and my new job was, the local sports center.
Yeah. So you started that, and kind of you got me in because, and I always say this to people who want to enter the industry of fitness and they don't really know where to start, and they may be in a completely different career, is to, first of all, if you've got your qualification, go and ask if they need cover or if you can work on reception, whatever it is, because I worked on reception to start with.
Yeah.
And I began just hours of reception. And I think it was one night, I was already qualified. And it was one night, there was a massive traffic jam and one of the instructors couldn't get into the class. So I stepped up for the circuits class and I did it. People enjoyed it. People liked it. And so then I ended up getting a couple more classes going, and then I was doing more and more. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't working on reception anymore. I was full-time
just
teaching.
classes. Yeah.
And that was the kind of start of basically full-time fitness industry.
Yeah, that was crazy. And you had the biggest class ever. You had 120 people in your classes.
Yeah, that was for Zumba. So I jumped on. I loved a bit Zumba, obviously with my dance background. I jumped on the Zumba train when it was very fresh and very new. And so I think I was the first instructor to be qualified, as far as I know, in the
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So we were the first group of people to put the class on.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, this is going from a place that only has, I don't know what, 20 people in a class, in a fitness class.
Yeah, less.
And maybe less. And then all of a sudden, James was duty manager as well.
Climbed the ranks.
He was fitness coach, duty manager, everything there. So he climbed the ranks of that sports centre.
It's only actually one rung on the ladder, but still, I climbed it.
So yeah, he was always on shift when I was coming into the classes, and it was just a nightmare for you guys, wasn't it?
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah, she had to get a whole stage built for her. You had to get a stage brought in because people couldn't see you, could they? Brilliant. It was crazy. Sound system. Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, that was good times.
It was such a good experience.
That was good.
I think having like a amount of people in front of you, smiling, enjoying some kind of movement, some kind of fitness, that to me was the ultimate feeling.
Oh, it was the best.
Of pleasure, wasn't it? Because you just felt like you'd have people come up and so many different stories, and everybody was so excited, and so many people, either they lost a bunch of weight or they just felt better, they felt fitter, and it was such a simple class, but it was the atmosphere of everybody together, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they loved it. Yeah, it was brilliant.
And it was such a, and from there on, I think, especially for both of us, it was like, that's you can't beat a feeling like that, and that is something to keep fighting for, and why we wanted to delve even more into the industry. Yeah,
for sure. And then that's what we ended up moving to Canada, didn't we, after that?
Yeah. So we were obviously working at the sports centre together, doing classes and training, etc. And then we just really wanted to be somewhere else, didn't we?
Yeah. We're in such a small town. This is such a brilliant town to grow up in and retire in, but in between there wasn't really much for us kind of career-wise, was there?
No.
So to advance, we kind of had to leave. We had to move out.
Yeah. So we spent a long time trying to get a hot working holiday visa, I think they called it.
Yeah. So
we both managed to get that, and we headed off to Canada.
Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah, and we lived there for
a year and a half,
wasn't it? Yeah. A year and a half. And again, all we were planning on doing really was just traveling around and working a little bit, wasn't it? But we both ended up in the fitness industry again.
Yeah. I ended up in a nutrition store or supplement store, and again rose through ranks, one rung again. No, went to manager, and then ended up managing a couple stores or a few stores around British Columbia, which was really cool. And then Franny, she was working in that. Oh yeah, Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Wicked gym.
So when we first got there, again, bearing in mind we're from a very small town. So when we first arrived in Vancouver, we were looking around for the gyms because obviously we were just like desperate. We knew that if we were going to stay in Vancouver, we have to get a gym membership.
Yeah.
And we went to look around this gym in downtown Vancouver, and it was Steve Nash Fitness World.
Yeah.
And as soon as we walked in there, we were like, oh,
we were sold straight away, weren't we?
Completely. We were the
easiest sell ever.
Completely. It was like no other gym we'd been in because we're just from such a small town. So this gym was crazy, wasn't it?
Crazy. And it was like 700 quid up front.
Yeah.
And we just dropped it straight away. We were like, oh my God, this gym is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then rookie mistake.
Yeah.
And then you got a job there.
And then I ended up getting a job there as a personal trainer. So that was my first full-time personal training job. So I've done little bits and bobs, but mostly classes back in England. And then as soon as we got there, it was in. And do you know what? It was the start of such a big learning curve, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
You learned so much. Fast forward in your learning abilities and skills and everything so much. And it was just a wicked place to meet so many different people, so many different clients.
Yeah.
And a great gym to kind of really start and propel the career.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. And then I did on the side, I started doing a little bit of personal training there, alongside the supplement game, which was really cool. And then fast forward again, we ended up coming back home, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we got made to come back home. So visa issues, they didn't want us in the country anymore. So we ended up having to come back home, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we ended up coming back to the small town, and was it a few months into that you moved up to London?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you moved to London.
Moved to London. I managed to get.
Yeah, you went straight into Third Space.
Yeah, managed to get a job at what is now Third Space in Canary Wharf.
Yeah, was Reebok.
At the time of getting the job, it was Reebok Sports Club in Canary Wharf. So I applied there. I don't know how I found it. I was just Googling online any places in London, because as soon as we got back, as much as the small town is great, just didn't want to be here, did we? We just know the career path, and you need to get out. So fast forward all of that stuff, found the job at Reebok and started personal training there, and then managed to get you an interview.
But before that, I was working in Virgin in Islington.
Oh yeah, of course, that's right.
Yeah, I was working there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was grim, to say the least. All learning curve. But yeah, then you got me the interview to Third Space, and then that was it.
And so James probably won't blow his own trumpet, so I'm going to do it for him. But from there, so again, just being in that gym as well, so many different people you come across, all sorts of different clients. We've trained, I couldn't even count hundreds of clients over the years, and now we're probably in what, 10th year, I don't know, maybe more. We've trained hundreds of clients. We've seen all sorts of different people. James came in, and as a trainer he was great, and then all of a sudden again just another job that he rises through the ranks. So he became one of the busiest trainers at the club, well actually around all the clubs, because Third Space, it turned into Third Space and it ended up acquiring a lot of other clubs around London. He became the busiest trainer. You had the highest numbers.
Yep, still hold records for if there's any trainers listening. Still got the records. Thank you very much.
You still got the records, unless it's been beaten.
I haven't been beaten, of course.
So and yeah, you were super in demand. I mean, I used to do a lot of clients, but I remember one day having, there was days when you'd have like 10 in a row, and this was back in the beginning, and for me especially, I just couldn't handle doing that anymore.
I remember one day doing 14 clients back to back. That's 14 hours non-stop. That's just one client in, one client out. You have to ask them if you can go to the toilet. You had to bring me like shakes.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. But that's the one thing, like now obviously we were there for years, did really well, and then COVID hit. But our plan was always to go online, but COVID just kind of fast-tracked it. So I always knew I wanted to go online. I always wanted to move into the online realm, just because I knew what I could do, and I've had mentors that have kind of said this is kind of the way to do it. And just being in the online realm, the thing missing from in-person personal training is you only get to spend the 1 or 2 or 3 hours a week with that person. and there's 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's so hard. Once you have that many clients, it's so hard to dictate anything they're doing throughout the week, and you can't really help them as much. So that's why I feel the online world is so much better. The in-person personal training is brilliant for kind of, if you're doing correcting technique and you're a bit more hands-on, then it's brilliant for that. But if the person is well-versed in the gym, even if they're not well-versed in the gym, you can still do so much over video. But the online space, I feel you could just help people so much more.
I think, and that's the thing with us, is we have spent so long now being in-person personal trainers that we have, honestly, we've come across every client you can think of. Possibly. You have so many roadblocks from different clients all the time, and when you do have that small amount of time, you are obviously going home and you're writing their programs and you're doing a lot of stuff outside the gym, but still, if you're a busy trainer and you're back to back a lot,
there's only so much you can do.
And so it's taken, I think, without, of course, regardless, I just think if you're going to be an online trainer, you have to have done in person.
Yeah, you've got to be 100%. You learn so much, and you learn so much about different clients, biomechanics of different clients. Then you know how to set things up on machines, set things up for their movement pattern wise. There's so much that you will learn from doing an in-person personal training session. But then if you really want to help people, I feel the online space is the way to really help people.
And that's why, so, you know, like James said, when COVID hit, we moved quite a lot of our stuff online anyway, as I'm sure so many trainers did. And lots of people have still loved that because everybody's moving everywhere now, and it's that convenience. And if you've already got a good standing relationship with clients, they kind of want to stick and keep that continuity anyway. But so for me, again, building on the coaching business, we've just been building and building, and kind of niching down almost. So the other thing is, when you've done so much in-person personal training that we've done, and other trainers will say the same thing, you start to realize what clients you attract, what type of people, and you kind of get your own niche market of people, because they seem to be the ones that attract you, and they're the ones that you enjoy working with as well. But for you, and if anybody has read any of your blogs or been on your website, they can see that you're so much more than a trainer now. And when I say trainer, it's coach, isn't it? Really, it's coach, because this is why we wanted to do this podcast, is to give you an understanding of all the other lifestyle factors that go into your health and well-being. And it's not just about having the ultimate training program or a great nutrition plan. It's got to be about all the other parts of your lifestyle that interconnect to help you be healthier. And
that's why we call it holistic health.
Exactly. Aren't we clever?
There we go.
But for just for the listeners as well, obviously, this is why we work great together as well, is that I send clients and I speak to clients, and a lot of clients I have go to James now for blood work. So, because obviously you were doing training, and I think it's when we hit COVID, I don't know if it was just before or just after. It was before COVID.
What, functional medicine?
You started to study functional medicine.
So before COVID, this is what I always wanted to do, but just because I just really love physiology, and I love how in depth everything is and how you can help from kind of an inside out perspective. So this is how I got into the functional medicine realm. So functional medicine, it really looks at how it actually looks is people who do functional medicine, because the medicine is in the name, they're kind of like doctors, and they'll go in and they'll fix ailments by using herbs or lifestyle protocols or different supplements. But I never really wanted to fix ailments. I just wanted to help people to perform to their kind of highest potential. So this is why now I work with some professional athletes, and I'll run different kind of tests. So I've done more testing and more courses on top of my initial functional medicine. So now I run stool tests, urine tests, saliva tests, blood tests, basically anything that I can get out of your body. I can analyze it. From there, we can get rid of what I call health anchors. Cheers, Forrest. what we call health anchors. So a health anchor would be something within your physiology that is holding you back from reaching your true potential. So if you can get rid of this kind of root cause issue, then this will allow you to flourish. So now I run a battery of labs on clients and figure out kind of what within their physiology isn't working as it should be, help that, and then this allows them to build muscle, to lose fat, to perform at their best. If they're, for example, professional football players, they have to try and like eke out that last few percent. So now this is how I work through lab testing, and then I design nutrition and supplement protocols from there.
But even so, for the everyday athlete, as I'll call them,
Yeah,
I like that.
nice.
It's still super important, right, to have
Oh, massively, yeah. I've just had mine. Yeah, I've just had all my results back, and my results were horrendous, weren't they?
Yeah. So on the outside, you know, and even day-to-day living,
Yeah.
you would say, oh, I'm pretty healthy. That
Yeah.
we make healthy choices with
Yeah.
food. Just,
Yeah.
you know, we live a life as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're not robots. But we're obviously conscious about it because it's what we love and we're interested in it. But still, you know, we all have habits and things that creep in, right? And
that's it.
some of your habits that crept in, stimulants, you know, especially with all the studying that you were doing, stimulants crept in, and it takes a toll on your body.
It took a toll, yeah. So from my test, which I got back recently, it showed. So I won't get into deep. Well, it showed that cortisol, so a stress hormone within my body, was not doing well. DHEA, which is an anabolic hormone which counteracts, also wasn't doing very well. So there was a lot of issues within the biomarkers within my tests that showed that I really wasn't doing that well. And it showed that I was just overstimulating or overcompensating with caffeine. I was eating nicotine gum, anything just to keep me going, because I felt like a zombie. I was just so my energy was so low, and I had to do anything just to try and keep it up so I could keep studying, keep working. Cheers again, Forrest. Just keep pushing to obviously just try and get the work done, because I knew I had work to get done. And stupidly, you just kind of just push yourself, even at the detriment of your own health. So that's what happened. So then I went through these results. Now I've got a whole supplement protocol I'm on. But one of the big things was coming off of all the stimulants. And that took a big toll. So for the first couple of days was horrendous. I was sleeping a lot, could barely function. For the first week, I was not doing well. But now it's starting to slowly come back. And I actually feel like I have my actual energy. It feels like before I just would say I felt like a zombie. It wasn't my own energy. And now I can feel my own energy coming back. And it makes such a difference, doesn't it?
And what's crazy is,
you said I wasn't as good as a partner.
No. Yeah, but at the time when you're right in it and you hadn't got the results yet.
Oh yeah.
You get used to the new normal.
Yeah.
So even though I knew after knowing the results, even though you came off the stimulants and I was like, oh my God, you're like a new person.
Yeah.
You're joking again. You're bubbly.
Yeah.
Like, we're more affectionate.
Yeah.
Everything felt better.
Yeah.
I got used to the new normal.
Yeah, so true.
Before I understood all of your results, and you kind of just accept it.
Yeah.
And so
and it's so gradual. You don't see it. It just creeps up on you. Sneaky little toe rag.
Exactly. But that's how hard it is. And this is why we're super passionate about helping people. And again, you know, as we go through the podcast, we will dive into all these specific topics. And if you have any topics that you want us to cover, please message us on Instagram, send us an email. Anything you can. We'll pop everything in the show notes so you can contact us, and we'll dive into these a little bit more. But it's so easy if that's how easy it is to go unnoticed of your health. And to even for you, who I would say we're pretty aware of our
very conscious
our energy levels of our well-being. If it's that easy for it to go unnoticed for us and to get used to a new normal that's not optimal, then of course that's what's so super hard for clients and super hard for other people who are not in the health and fitness industry, who are struggling to know which crazy diet thing to follow or what crazy fitness thing is out at the moment. It's so hard. If you're watching us on video, you will see that Forrest is getting a little bored, our dog.
Cheers, Forrest.
I'm sure he'll make some.
So we'll be wrapping up soon. But that's the thing. So yeah, so I have fatigue. I started getting skin issues. There are a lot of things. These things are very common, but they're not normal.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So that's what you're thinking. So a lot of these symptoms are common, but they're not normal. Forrest, get down. So yeah, so it happened. It just creeps up on you, and really the only way to figure it out is via lab testing. So this is why I had to get all the labs done, and I'm so glad I did, because now my energy is so much better, and I'm literally 2 or 3 weeks into it.
Absolutely, yeah. And so for me, and again, like I said, when you don't realize how much these things can affect partners, friends,
Yeah,
social situations, whatever it is, it's crazy the difference. And this is just one simple, or I mean, this is an array of tests, but that particular part was just one simple test.
Yeah.
So even just, you know, a yearly blood work test is something super important.
Yeah, which we will go into in future podcasts. We can break all that kind of stuff down. But hopefully that has given you a bit of an intro on us.
It's a very condensed story of how we got into health and fitness. There are loads of reasons, loads of background bits, but hopefully you've enjoyed our first podcast, and we will bring some hopefully really interesting topics to you in the future. And if you do have any topics that you would like us to cover, again, please do message us. It's always really nice to have people suggest certain topics so that we can cover them. And hopefully what we're trying to do is just give you honest, well-researched, good information so that you can have great tools in order to incorporate better health and well-being into your life. And
Forrest will not be in the next podcast.
We will either go on a big walk before, or we will chuck him out the room.
He'll be gone. But thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we will see you next week.